Hey YouTube, Kiratweek here, bringing you all an update to my Gagaga Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile. This is an update I wanted to do after following the Utopia update. These two decks really do work in tandem for me, just being two decks used pretty much majority by Yuma in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal series. The Gagaga engine has more of a, as you would know, Gagaga lineup of monsters that you run for a variety of XYZ summons in the deck, including Gagaga Cowboy, Gagaga Samurai, and Gagaga Magician for the ones you want to go for the Gagaga lineup, but then also having a generic lineup to be able to go into as well, with some of the updates being some of the newer monsters for the extra deck as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the Gagaga monsters themselves. For the known Gagaga monsters, we're not running full play sets of them because you really don't need to in the deck, but we're running one copy of Gagaga Girl and two copies of Gagaga Magician. With Gagaga Magician, once per turn, you can declare a level from 1 to 8, and this card becomes that level to the end phase. You can only control one face of Gagaga Magician, and it cannot be used as synchro material, which isn't really an issue with this deck because all we're going to be doing with the extra deck are Xyz and Link Summons, and Gagaga Girl being able to target a face of Gagaga Magician we control, and this card's level becomes the level of that monster. So this gives us access to the variety of, rank Xyz that we want to go into, all the way from 1 to 8 with this deck. So we have some different monsters to be able to go into using these two monsters as alone, and then also when given the additional effect of an Xyz monster that was summoned using this card, another Gagaga monsters material for Gagaga Girl gains the effect of when it's Xyz summoned, you can target one special summon monster your opponent controls, and its attack becomes 0, making that Xyz monster being able to hit over that monster as well. We also run the 3 copies of Gagaga Clerk. If you control a Gagaga monster other than Clerk, you can special summon this card from your hand. So Clerk acts as an extender for some of your other plays in the deck, and with some of the other level adjustment we have in the deck as well. Being able to summon out this card could give us access to some link plays in the deck if need be with some of our other monsters as well. So definite 3 up for just the ease of special summoning this card to the field just by being able to control a Gagaga monster. We're also running 3 copies of Utopic Onomatopoeia. This card's always treated as a Zubaba, Gagaga, Gogogo, or Dododo card, so it helps with the Gagaga engine as well. During your main phase, you can special summon up to 1 of each Zubaba, Gagaga, Gogogo, or Dododo monsters from your hand in defense. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except for Xyz monsters, but another faster way I would say to get Gagaga Magician onto the field as well, and then use its own level adjustment, because it doesn't have to be normal or special summon to use the adjustment, it's just a once per turn play. And for the other 3 ofs in the deck, 3 copies of Zubaba Bacho Gagaga Coat, with this card once again being a Gagaga monster. If you control a Zubaba or Gagaga monster, except for Zubaba Babancho Gagaga Coat, while this card's in your hand, you can special summon this card. You can target a Gogogo or Dododo monster in your graveyard, so you have the target with Onomatopoeia with this card to then special summon it, and then you're also locked into the extra deck once again for Xyz plays. So while a lot of plays in the deck do lock you out of other plays, Xyz summon will still be the majority of what you want to do in the deck to begin with. We also run 2 copies of Gagaga Head. I know this is a promo exclusive still. I can't even recall if this card has been reprinted and is available, but if you wanted to substitute numbers with this card, you can always add more copies of Gagaga Girl or Gagaga Magician in replace for Gagaga Head. If your opponent controls a monster, you control no monsters, you can normal summon this card without attributing as a level 4 monster. And when it's normal summon, you can target up to 2 Gagaga monsters in your graveyard except for Gagaga Head and special summon them, and then you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except for Xyz monsters that only used Gagaga monsters material. But it's good using that setup of different monsters to then set your 1 card play, using this monster as more of a comeback result against your opponent. And for the 1-ofs, the 1 copy of Gagaga Sister being a search option for your Gagaga spell and traps. The 1 Gagaga Child being able to use this card if you control a Gagaga monster other than Gagaga Child to special summon this card from your hand. When you do target a Gagaga monster you control with a different level than this card, and this card's level becomes the level of that monster. Another way to adjust with our Gagaga Magician by using Gagaga Child along with Gagaga Girl for level adjustments for different Xyz plays. And then the 1 Gagaga Mancer with its name being the added play of being able to summon other Gagaga monsters back from the graveyard to the field also, with the rest of the main deck monsters just being a small hand trap lineup of 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. The other hand trap that we run in the deck is Infinite Impermanence, which we'll get to when we go over the traps. For the spells, we run 3 copies of Onomato Pickup. When it's activated, you can add 1 Onomat card from your deck to your hand, except for Onomato Pickup. And with this card, you can target 1 Zubababa, Gagaga, or Gogogo, or Dododo monster you control. All monsters you currently control become that monster's level until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. So this is the definite way to make use of Gagaga Magician's level adjustment with any of your Gagaga monsters, adjusting that level, and then being able to go into that Xyz play. We're also running 3 copies of Onomato Pyra, where you can only activate 1 Pyra per turn. You can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, add up to 2 of these cards from your deck to your hand. You cannot add 2 of the same category, Zubababa, Gagaga, Gogogo, or Dododo, but having this option to search for the specific card also gives us access to some of our one-ofs. With the majority, we can have the Zubababa Bancho be the Zubababa target, and then add any of the Gagaga monsters off of this spell as well. We're also running the 2 copies of Gagaga Wind. You special summon 1 Gagaga monster from your hand as a level 4 monster, so this can also just get out Gagaga Girl as a needed level 4, but just a way to extend from your hand with the Gagaga monsters that you may have in your hand as well. The 2 copies of Gagaga Tag. All Gagaga monsters you currently control gain 500 attack for each Gagaga monster you currently control until your next standby phase. So the fact that's the next standby phase means you can at least sit on a bigger powered up Gagaga monster on the field as well until your opponent's turn, and that's also where having the additional extra deck monsters come into play as well for us to be able to summon out. And then for the last of the spells, we do run a good number of one-ofs, but they all play into the Gagaga plays. 1, Double or Nothing. We do run a small Utopia engine in the extra deck as well. The 1 Gagaga Bolt, being able to target a card on the field and destroy it just by controlling a Gagaga monster. Gagaga Revenge for more of a graveyard special summon option for a Gagaga monster in the graveyard. Gagaga Draw for banishing 3 from your graveyard with Gagaga in the name to draw 2. And then the 1 Reinforcements of the Army, having a wide variety of warrior search on top of the spellcaster lineup we also run in the deck. For the traps, before we get to the Infinite Impermanence, we are running 2 copies of Gagaga Rush. When a face-up Gagaga monster you control is targeted by the effect of an opponent's monster, negate the effect of that opponent's monster, and if you do, destroy it. Then inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's attack or defense in the graveyard. So more or less burn damage, which can also come up, but also protection for those Gagaga cards, just when your opponent would try to target it by the effect of a monster. And then lastly, for the traps, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, as I said before, for the Ash Blossom and Imperm lineup, just as a small hand trap engine to run along with your Gagaga monsters. For the extra deck, we run 1 copy of Gagaga Cowboy, the 1 copy of Gagaga Magician, and the 1 Gagaga Samurai, having the 2 attack option with Samurai, the burn damage attack boost for Cowboy, and then Gagaga Magician being able to detach 1 material from this card to target an Xyz monster in your graveyard, except for Magician, special summon it, negates effects, and you can only use this effect once per turn, and then having the additional option to use a Utopic Future monster with this card as well. I don't have the Utopic Future monsters in the extra deck. If you wanted to run the full Utopic Future engine, you could always take out the Utopia engine or more of the generic lineup that we run, or even the Zeus lineup for those spots for the Utopic Future monsters. But for the Utopia monsters, 1 Utopia, 1 Utopia Double, and then the 1 Utopia Lightning. This could also just be the big game win play with the Double or Nothing add to your hand, then overlaying into the Lightning for the attack swing there. For the different rank monsters, 1 Big Eye and 1 number 38 for some of the bigger resource take and spell negation monsters that you can run in the deck to work with your Gagaga Magician level adjustment. And then more of the generics being 1 Baguska, 1 Exotonite, 1 Castel, 1 number 60 Dugaris, with our other boss monsters being the Zeus and the Typhon. And if once again, if you wanted to run the Utopic Future engine, you could always take these 2 cards out for that engine, with our only link monster being the 1 SP Little Knight. It's just a good banish option if you are locked out of Xyz plays. You don't have don't have any other options to go into. You at least have this play to rely on as well. But as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, as I said before, the special summon option for just going into the generic rank 4 plays is a big part of the deck. The level adjustment with Gagaga Magician, then being able to adjust that card, whether it be with Gagaga Girl or Onomato Pickup for one of your other Gagaga monsters. Once you have that level set for your Gagaga Magician, you can then have that other monster become the level thanks to Pickup, and then go for that Xyz play and what you may need to use for that additional summon of that monster. Taking your opponent's resource means you can also take that monster and then have the initial link play as well. But once again, remember, you may be locked into Xyz plays with some of the cards, so the more the older generic support you have to do this play and go into that summon, the more you can rely on your opponent's resources and go into those plays that I mentioned before as well. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, I'd like to update this deck just with the added changes done to Utopia to keep both decks as up to date as I can. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.